Alright, so I'm going to attempt to show how I installed some seats. I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but Jeep YJ seats are not great. And this Jeep, when I bought it, it had I don't know, one factory seat and one desktop seat, and they're really super thick. I sat really high. It was just garbage. I wasn't comfortable driving it. In fact, it made me not really like driving it too much. So anyway, I found these seats on Craigslist, $150. They were BMW 3 Series seats. They're power on both sides. The driver's side has memory. It's a very easy install. In fact, you can see right here, these are the two factory wires. Red is hot, brown is ground. I don't know what the yellow and white wire is, some kind of sensor wire. Not sure really for what. It's not for the airbag system because this is the driver's seat. I think the car assumes that somebody's in the driver's seat if the car's driving. And there's no such wire on the passenger side. But in any case, these are the factory BMW sliders. You can see their power. That motor right there is for the shaft that moves the seats back and forth. And you can see here there's also the height adjustments. There's this one for the, I guess, the thigh bolsters. I'm not really sure. Anyhow, what I did, the floor on the YJ in some other Jeeps I'm sure too is not very flat. So you have a inboard mount that is down low, that is kind of odd shaped. It has a big step in it. Then you have the one that's on the outboard, same for both sides, that is flat. So I utilized those. I cut apart the original bases, which actually fold forward. They're big old contraption. I cut those apart. I basically welded the bases, the ones that bolt to the floor, to the sliders, front and rear. You can see back there, it's basically just right next to it. And then on the other side, the seat bases for the BMW from here to here, from here all the way across to the other side, is very wide. So I actually had to sort of build a piece that cantilevers out that holds it up, and then in the back I actually have two additional mounting locations that I welded onto the track. It was actually pretty easy, pretty quick. On the passenger side, a little bit different because these seats did not come with, the passenger side seat did not come with the BMW tracks. So it doesn't have the functionality of the power forward and front to back. So I had to use the factory sliders. You can see it's there. I took the upper part of the original Jeep base, and I just welded it next to, at the appropriate angle, the bottom part of the base. So I eliminated the moving parts, and I just welded that solid. You can see on the passenger side, again, they're different from left to right. The inboard one was really easy. The outboard one was a little more difficult. I had to actually build it up and put a spacer in there and weld the two brackets together with that strut right there. This one on this side didn't require any additional mounting because it used the original sliders. But because it didn't have the original sliders, I had to figure out a way to attach the height bars, which are these things right here, to those original YJ sliders. And the way that I did that is I took a piece of angle iron, heavy angle iron. It's you know, 1/8 inch thick, 1 inch legs on it, and I bolted them to the top of the sliders where the original seat would bolt in. And then I took some I can't remember what you call it. They're the tall nuts, and I welded them to the inside of the angle so that I could bolt a bolt. I could run a bolt through that, and bottom it out where the shoulder on the bolt was long enough that it allows this to move freely. So I did that on the front and rear. Those are original spacers in there. I didn't have to add any spacers. I didn't have to do anything like that. I just put the bolts in, bolted the seat track, made sure they were the right width apart, and bolted them to the top of the seat frames that I fabricated. You can see the one over on the other side there. You can just barely see it, and you can see how I basically took that top bracket and dropped it down alongside the bottom bracket, and then I just welded them together at the right angle. And you can see that bracket over there on the left, that or that strut that I had to build, weld on right there to get them at the right angle. Then you saw before, I added to the power. I just used these Delphi Packard fittings so that I can plug power in when I run it real easy. I'll show you how they work.